live back in the days. Don't be left behind. Join the new normal of digital world. Let radio and television be at your fingertips. Get news and current events, entertainment, sports, kiddies programs, and more at your beck and call on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Just visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. Then you are a global citizen. Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Voice of the voiceless.
It is essential to be up to date on happenings around you, and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
A beautiful morning to you, wherever you're watching us live on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. It is a wonderful Thursday morning, and I'm sure it is a beautiful one on the other side while you're watching us live this morning. Welcome to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. We are always committed right here on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, but right about now we want to take you through some of the stories and headlines we have in our newspapers this morning. Today is the 19th day in the month of October 2023. My name is Modupe, Akinyosoye, and I have a couple of newspapers as usual this morning. I have the Punch newspaper, I have the Vanguard newspaper, I have the Nation newspaper, and I also have the Daily Trust newspaper. Without further ado, we kickstart the review. We pick up the Punch newspaper first, and let's see what we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper. You have an headline on contributory pension. NLC retirees lament as 26 states fails to join scheme. This comes with double riders. The details on page 2 in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, China to fund Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, Abuja, Kano rails. You have that on page 33 in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, anti-graft war should start from National Assembly, says EFCC chair. Page 7 captures the details of that very story. Akpabio meets Tinubu, dismisses crisis in Senate. You have that details on page 7 as well in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, also from the front page of the Punch, Gaza hospital attacks sparks protest. Biden, Israel blame terror group. You have that on page 8 in the Punch newspaper. And of course, you get to see the picture right there. Egypt, Yemen, right on the front page, protesting. Away from that, you also have an headline that says Ondo Assembly asks Ayedatiwa to withdraw suit. Page 24 captures that. On extortion, police remove DPO, try others after Punch reports. We have that on page 5 in the Punch newspaper. Alafin, EFCC quizzes Oyo kingmakers over bribery allegations. Page 7 as the details of that very story. Quickly moving to the Punch newspaper, let's take a couple of the stories we have in the Punch newspaper. Alright, we start with contributory pension. NLC and retirees lament as 26 states fail to join scheme. This comes with double riders. Lagos and 5 others in full compliance. Contributory pension scheme inevitable, says PENCOM. Withdrawing pension immoral, says NLC. Retirement now death sentence. Retirees kick. The story reveals that only 6 states and the Federal Capital Territory have fully implemented a contributory pension scheme as of the end of June 2023, according to the National Pension Commission. According to PENCOM's second quarter report for 2023, apart from the FCT, states fully implementing the CPS Lagos, Osun, Kaduna, Ekiti, and Ondo, and no fewer than 26 states have yet to fully join the scheme. You get the details of that in the Punch newspaper. Contribution pension, NLC and retirees lament as 26 states fail to join the scheme. Away from that, also from the Punch newspaper, Akpabio meets Tinubu, dismisses crisis in Senate. Senate President Godswill Akpabio on Wednesday emphasized the unity and maturity of the Nigerian Senate, even amidst disagreement. in the parliament, sometimes you disagree to agree, but we will never get to the point of throwing chairs. The Senate is too mature, full of matured people, Akpabio told State House correspondents after closed-door talks with President Bola Tinubu at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. Akpabio's visit comes barely 24 hours after the senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, stormed out of the chamber, and the trouble began minutes after the commencement of the day's session on Tuesday when Ndume, APC Borno South, raised the point of order to draw the Senate President's attention to alleged procedural errors he committed. From the Punch, Akpabio meets Tinubu, dismisses crisis in Senate. You have that in the Punch newspaper. According to the EFCC chair from the Punch, anti-graft war should start from the National Assembly. The Senate on Wednesday screened and confirmed the nomination of Al-IyamoyeTv as the substantive chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. While fielding questions from the senators during the screening, Olukoyede told the lawmakers to ensure that the fight against corruption begins in the National Assembly. He declared that he was ready to work no matter whose ox was God. And Olukoyede said the time had come for all anti-corruption agencies to focus more on prevention rather than enforcement. Anti-graft war should start from National Assembly, EFCC chair, revealing that from The Punch newspaper. And also from The Punch, Tinubu will throw out ministers who perform poorly after 6 months, says Smart Adeyemi, a former lawmaker who represented Kogi West in the 9th Senate. Adeyemi Smart has warned the nation's ministers to perform in their overseas hells that they will be shown the way out by President Bola Tinubu. Adeyemi sounded the warning on Wednesday when he appeared on the channel's television program Politics Today. The former lawmaker described Tinubu as a man with a track record of performance, adding that Tinubu is working to reposition Nigeria to a better state. Tinubu will throw out ministers who perform poorly after 6 months, says Smart Adeyemi from The Punch. And also from The Punch, police nab father for raping 16-year-old daughter. A 16-year-old girl, Temitope Ewuso, has accused her father, Kayode, of raping her. The victim alleged that her father had continuously been demanding and forcing her to have sex inside his room in Sholoton Estate, Ladorin, Abeokuta, Ogun State. According to the victim, the father began to demand sex immediately after her mother divorced him. While reporting the incident to the operatives of the Ogun State Social Orientation and Safety Corps, who in turn took the case to the nearest police station, that the father was arrested. Police nabbed father for raping 16-year-old daughter. You have that from the Metro page of The Punch newspaper. And we have a sports story from The Punch that says, WSF boss, others applaud IOC over squash inclusion in Olympics. Squash enthusiasts have applauded the decision of the International Olympic Committee to officially include squash as a sport at the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. The World Squash Federation and the Professional Squash Association extended their gratitude to the organizing committee of the LA 28 Olympic Games and the IOC for including squash. The rest of that in the Punch newspaper, the sport pages. WSF boss and others applaud IOC over squash inclusion in Olympics. Away from the Punch newspaper, let's see what we have on the front page of The Nation newspaper this morning to go through a couple of headlines right on the front page of The Nation newspaper. We have headlines: more Chinese funding for rail, power and other projects with double riders. The details on page 4 in The Nation newspaper. Away from that, EFCC quizzes Oyo Kingmakers over laughing. Page 6 captures that with a rider twist and race for stool. And also, Senate not boiling, says Akpabio. We disagree to agree. That's a rider. Details on page 5 in The Nation newspaper. Also from the front page of The Nation, while it's hard for African nations to restructure debt by still glids. Page 7 captures that very story. Federal government cautions on abuse of social media. Page 3 has the details of that story. ICPC recovered 655 billion naira cash and assets in 4 years. Page 4 has the details Only 6 out of 14 new federal varsities to take off, says the minister. We have that on page 5 in the Nation newspaper. EFCC chair said 2.9 trillion naira lost to contract procurement scam with a rider, and details on page 4 in the Nation newspaper. All right, let's go through the Nation newspaper to see the stories that we have. We start with this very story here that says more Chinese funding for rail, power and other projects. With double risers, Xi Jinping pledges support at Pali with Shetima. Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri rail lines restored. China yesterday pledged to pump more money into railway projects, the power sector, and the digital economy in Nigeria. Chinese President Xi Jinping stated this in Beijing during a meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima. Asia giant and the world's second largest economy reaffirmed its readiness to fulfill its obligations to full funding of railway projects, which has been slowed down. It is set to provide more money for the completion of the Abuja, Kano and Port Harcourt Maiduguri rail project. And according to Vice President Shettima spokesman Stanley Nkwocha, Jinping made the pledge while responding to requests by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Belt and Road Initiative Forum, BRI. More Chinese funding for rail, power and other projects. The Nation newspaper captures that very story. Away from that, MAN kicks against CBN's removal of forex restriction on 43 items. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has said that the recent decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to remove forex restrictions on 43 items will have adverse effects that may lead to the collapse of several local industries. The vice chairman of the basic metal, iron and steel product sector of the association, Lekon Adewoye, who spoke on the TVC business program, asked the federal government to urgently reverse the decision and save the nation from a looming job crisis, insecurity, and outright collapse of the nation's economy. And he condemned the new CBN policy, stressing that it is capable of collapsing many industries very soon. MAN kicks against CBN's removal of forex restriction on 43 items. The Nation captures that story. Also from the Nation newspaper, governors seek 15% of budgets for education. The Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, yesterday urged members to commit above 50% of state budget to education. Chairman of the NGF and Kwara State Governor Abdulrazak Abdurrahman led a call at a briefing in Abuja. It was organized by the Federal Ministry of Education in collaboration with the United Nations Children Funds with the theme Scaling Foundational Literacy and Numeracy in Nigeria. From the Nation, governors seek 15% of budget for education. You have the details right in the Nation newspaper. And also from the Nation newspaper, Tinubu direct phased takeoff of varsities approved by last administration. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the Federal Ministry of Education to stagger the takeoff of some of the federal tertiary institutions established by the previous administration. The Minister of Education, Dr. Maman Tahir, who disclosed this to journalists at the State House Abuja after meeting with President Tinubu on Wednesday, explained that the decision was based on some considerations, including funding. Tahir told journalists at the briefing that he visited the president to update him on developments in his ministry, including issues surrounding a stakeholders conference scheduled for today, Thursday, appointments of heads of agencies and boards of tertiary institutions. From the Nation, Tinubu direct phased takeoff of varsities approved by last administration. And also taking a trip to Ondo State, impeach Akeredolu now, PDP tells Assembly. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called on the Ondo Assembly to begin impeachment process against Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for violating the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. It's urged the Assembly to cause a medical panel to be instituted to ascertain Akeredolu's medical status and do the needful in the interest of the people of the state. But the Ondo Assembly urged the people to ignore the PDP because it lacked knowledge of the duties of a governor. Impeach Akeredolu now, PDP tells Assembly from the Nation newspaper. All right, let's quickly dash into our commercial room. We'll take more headlines and stories from our newspapers this morning after this short commercial break. Stay with us to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mall, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó pàgbàmù ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kájọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀, ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zayana lẹ́ ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zayana wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zayana 08165688618. House of Zayana, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Thank you so much for joining us and still locked on to Al-IyamoyeTV and radio, still Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. And quickly, let's continue the review segment on the Daybreak Show on Freshlight this morning. Picking up the Vanguard newspaper, let's see what we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Contracts and procurements frauds cost Nigeria 2.9 trillion naira in 3 years. Olukoyede, new EFCC boss, revealing that with several riders on page 8 captures the details of that story. Naira hits new low, 1,060 naira per dollar as man kicks at policy reversal. Page 20 captures that. NNPCL appoints Shoneye chief communication officer. Page 13 has that very story. Can JNI disagree with Babachir for labeling APC Islamic Party? You have that on page 26 in the Vanguard newspaper. Udewa, Ihedioha, others, Sean PDP campaign flag off in Imo. Page 11 graces that very story. Nollywood actor Mr. Ibu seeks assistance over health challenges. Page 7 has that very story. Abuja plots revocation order. Wiki extends deadline for mosque and churches. Page 9 has that very story. Naira depreciation forces insurance firms to flout local content law. The details of that on page 19 in the Vanguard newspaper. And also on the insecurity, gunmen kill 15, kidnap 14 in Benue, Nasarawa, Zamfara, and Lagos. You have it on page 5 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, Femi Aribisala, God kills before he makes alive. Before he makes alive, you have that on page 21 in the Vanguard newspaper. Unilori lament as scammed students commit suicide. Page 6 captures that rather sad story. And on sport headline right here on the front page of the Vanguard says 40 Premier League players heading to Africa Cup of Nation. Page 30 captures that sports story, and you see the picture of Tinubu. Tinubu receives new EFCC leadership. You get to see the picture of the wife of new EFCC chairman, Olaiton EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the secretary of the commission, Mohammed right during the meeting with the president at the presidential villa after the Senate's confirmation of the appointment in Abuja yesterday. Let's quickly go through the Vanguard newspaper to take a couple of the stories from the Vanguard. Let's quickly take a trip outside Nigeria. Rishi Sunak lands in Israel ahead of meeting with Netanyahu. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has arrived in Israel, where he is bailed to meet with his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu. Sunak is expected to demand humanitarian aid to be delivered to Gaza as soon as possible amid war. The British leader landed in Israel barely 24 hours after the President of the United States, Joe Biden, visited and promised to support with $100 billion. Sunak's visit was part of the efforts of the world leaders to prevent the conflict with arms spilling into the wider region. Rishi Sunak lands in Israel ahead of meeting with Netanyahu. The Vanguard newspaper captures that story. Also from the Vanguard, NAFDAC destroys fake and expired goods worth 500 million naira in Abuja. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, on Wednesday destroyed fake and expired goods worth over 500 million naira in Abuja. Speaking during the exercise, the Director General of the agency, Professor Modupe, stated that some of the goods were also voluntarily submitted to the agency. From the Vanguard, NAFDAC destroys fake and expired goods worth 500 million naira in Abuja. And still with the Vanguard, parents protest as Unilag asks students to resume with mattresses. The management of the University of Lagos, Unilag, yesterday explained why students staying on campus have been asked to come into the halls of residents with their mattresses and some other personal items, saying it is due to health reasons. The explanation came against the backdrop of protests by parents who lamented that they were just struggling to cope with the recent increase in tuition, hostel and other fees. In a chat with Vanguard, the head of information unit of the varsity, Adejoke Alaga Ibrahim, also said the halls are being renovated before the students would resume later in the month. Parents protest as Unilag asks students to resume with mattresses. The Vanguard captures that story. From the business page of the Vanguard, Naira hits new low, 1,060 Naira per dollar as man kicks at policy reversal. The crisis festering in Nigeria's currency exchange markets doubled down yesterday, with the local currency depreciating further across all segments of the market. Vanguard's monitor of the market yesterday indicated that the Naira went down from 1,100 Naira to US dollar midday in the parallel markets before settling at 1,060 Naira in the major trading hubs. In Lagos, it had hovered around 1,025 Naira in the past month in the parallel market. Naira hit new low, 1,060 Naira per dollar as man kicks at policy reversal. And let's pick up the Daily Trust newspaper to see what we have in the Daily Trust newspaper. All right, from the Daily Trust, we have a couple of headlines like marketers blame Forex and others as fuel scarcity returns to Lagos and Abuja. This comes with triple riders. Page 4 captures the details. Senate confirms Olukoyede as EFCC chairman. You have that on page 11 in the Daily Trust newspaper. After $1 billion drop, Nigeria may suffer further decline in forex inflows, says report. Page 22 captures that very story. 3 terrorists and 1 soldier killed in gun duel in Kaduna. That metro story you get on page 36 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Away from that, China commits to refinancing Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri railways. Page 6 captures that story. On diphtheria, Borno records 59 dead, 481 cases in 14 local government areas. You have that on page 39 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Operators suggest palm oil as aviation fuel eats 1,000 Naira per litre. You have that on page 22 in the Daily Trust newspaper. And also on Gaza, Islamic nations accuse Israel of state-sponsored terrorism. With double riders, page 8 captures the details of that story. And quickly moving to the pages of The Daily Trust. Marketers blame Forex and others as fuel scarcity returns to Lagos and Abuja. Marketers have attributed the petrol scarcity in Lagos and parts of Abuja to the rise of dollars against the naira, hoarding of petrol, and bad roads. Checks by a correspondent in Abuja revealed that some stations had remained short, while the few cited selling had increased their price to 630 naira per litre. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited (NNPCL) had in July increased the pump price to 670 naira per litre, citing market forces. And you get the details of that in the Daily Trust. Marketers blame Forex and others as fuel scarcity returns to Lagos and Abuja. Also from the Daily Trust, take a trip to Bauchi State. How lack of teachers and infrastructure forced primary schools closure turned pupils to farmers. The only public primary school in the community has remained closed for lack of teachers since a rainstorm damaged the roof of the school over 5 years ago. We don't have private schools to send our children to, so they will grow uneducated, thereby losing the future they deserve, because without education, their lives will not be as useful as they should be, said Abubakar Musa. Musa is a resident of Jandam Kogi village in Al-Kaleri local government area of Bauchi State, and a concerned parent about the state of primary schools in his community. Bauchi, our lack of teachers, infrastructure first, primary schools closure, turned pupils to farmers. You get more details of that in the Daily Trust. Back to Ogun State, 12 killed in fresh cholera outbreak. Cholera outbreak has killed at least 12 persons in the last 1 month in Ogun State, Daily Trust reports. The state government, as of September 17, alerted residents of the outbreak of cholera, locally referred to as Aronigbameji, in Ijebu North local government area of the state. A correspondent reports that the epidemic later spread to Abeokuta North and Abeokuta South local government areas in the state capital. The Commissioner of Health, Dr. Komikoka, has now confirmed 2 fatalities out of about 246 cases recorded so far. In Ogun State, 12 killed in fresh cholera outbreak. You get the details of that from the Metro page of the Daily Trust. And moving to the sports page of the Daily Trust, Nigerian ambassador tasked Gusau and Super Eagles on AFCON triumph. The ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to Portugal, His Excellency Alex E. Kefas, has tasked the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) President Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau and the Super Eagles to win the forthcoming Africa Cup of Nations. Kefas gave this charge when he hosted the Nigerian contingent to the internationally friendly matches against Saudi Arabia and Mozambique in Portugal, saying that the team's victory over Mozambique in their second game has created a winning mentality that must be sustained in upcoming matches and championships. Nigerian ambassador tasked Gusau and Super Eagles on AFCON triumph. The sports page of the Daily Trust captures that story. And from that very story, we'll call it a day this morning on Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On Facebook at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. On the X platform at Al-Iyamoye_TV. And also on Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTV. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. And also turn on your alarm button to get notification of our programs. Thank you so much once again. I remember Modupe Akinyosoye. Good morning.